Boys, the back porch is back. Got a dynamic duo in the house this evening for
Yo,
week
what up? What up?
one. Jake and I going the dynamic duo of the back porch this evening, this morning, this afternoon, the middle of the night, whenever you're tuning in on those platforms. YouTube, you're in for a special treat if you are watching on YouTube. If you are listening, I do apologize because in the very near future, we will be revealing something incredible for the stream. Hide your kids, hide your wife. Jake, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Back on the back porch. Finally got finished with this move, and looks like we're going to be ready to roll now. So should be able to at least hop back on for the pick'ems every week. Hopefully a little more if possible. We'll see. Dad duty calls sometimes.
Yes.
Which I think
Yes.
is why we're missing out on Nate tonight. Dad duty called. So
Yep.
you know how it
That
is.
happens. That happens when you are a father of two moving and also just, being an FPI killer is a tough duty. So
It's a
we
lot
have
of work.
to we respect it a lot here on the back porch. So we'll get to the pick'ems here in just a second, but I want to start off by letting the world know that there are some future slips that we should be cashing in on the college football season. So we are going to do a back porch kind of play. We're going to evaluate week one, and then we're going to do a conference winning parlay. We will all pick a conference because we are obviously Big Ten guys and SEC guys. So what I think we should do is that we should pick the Big Ten winner, the SEC winner, the Pac-12 winner, and then maybe
But
spin a roulette wheel for another conference, and then we'll do a 4-leg parlay, and we will all have a leg responsible, and go from there. So that's going to be fun. That's on next week's show. We'll do that because week one, we need to evaluate everything. But
yeah, nobody's going to let me have the Pac-12. None of y'all are going to let me
yeah,
have the
yeah,
Pac-12.
Pac-12
Because I'm
after
the only
dark.
one. I'm the only one different from the rest of y'all on my picks.
Yeah, you might be
I'm
executive decision.
I'm
Um,
quacking at everybody else's Trojan horses over there.
yeah, you never know. But we'll do that on next week's show because we got to evaluate week one. Week zero, very, very tough. Although I do have a hot take that I would love to just get off my chest because I've been
Let them
holding
have
it
it.
in this week. I think I'm gonna put a future in on Notre Dame to win the title.
There's a lot
They-
of big time guys out there thinking Notre Dame is gonna beat Ohio State this year, making it one of their two losses that a lot of guys are predicting. So you never know; it may not be
yeah,
a bad pick.
yeah. I think if I can get Notre Dame at a very good price. I know it was Navy. I know it's week zero, but they looked way better than they did last year. And with having a quarterback is all you need. And who do they have on their schedule that they can beat and get into the playoffs? It's Ohio State. And then who's their other big game again?
USC normally.
USC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Ohio State, USC, and those two teams they might be in the playoffs if they beat Notre Dame. But I don't know. Watching USC week one, I don't like their defense. I don't like my pick of them
Nope.
being in the Final Four because of it. I'll give them time to improve, but I tell you what, Notre Dame has some dudes on their team, and they finally got it figured out at quarterback, and I love Marcus Freeman. I
Yeah.
was very disappointed in what happened last year in them, but dude, I think Notre Dame is going to be there, and everyone's going to make fun of it because we do. But Notre Dame actually might be legit this year.
Yeah, it's because no one wants to see the classic teams make it. That's why people have the Bama hangover all the time because they kept making it over and over and over again, and they always do. So when Notre Dame makes it there, everybody's like, "Oh, great, here we go. Got to hear about Notre Dame again." One of the classic college football teams. But the reality is, when you're good, and they seem like they're kind of back. But
Mhm.
if we can't overreact to Notre Dame and then turn around and overreact to USC's defense. So it's kind of one of those things. We got to give it time, give it a week or two. We'll see. But I personally was not on the USC train because that was my number one reason I didn't have them in my Final Four. I did not think that their defense could stop anyone when you have a Utah and Oregon that if they can make one or two stops against USC, they beat USC. USC doesn't make it there. So that was one of my big takeaways and the reason that USC did not make my Final Four.
Yep. Oh man, the hate for Notre Dame is awesome. I went to that Ohio State Notre Dame game last year. It was not worth $526 a ticket to get in. I can tell you that. That one hurt the wallet. Not as much as the $476 Michigan Ohio State price with the L last year. So luckily they ended up beating Notre Dame. But from a football game perspective, that was just not a game that you wanted to pay for and see because it was just weird. It started weird. There wasn't a lot of offense. Like it was just a really eerie game to be at. I enjoyed it. The game day experience was electric, but
of course.
I don't want to do that again. And I'm glad that I am not this year in South Bend. So moving on from the Notre Dame, we're gonna move into Pick'em on the back porch. A little bit different than the original games that are on the ESPN Pick'em, but we gotta change up a few because we like to be different.
And also ESPN didn't have some of the big games this week. They were missing the Utah-Florida game. They were missing the LSU-FSU game, and we can't sit here and not pick the two biggest games of the week from our perspective coming in at least to the games. And I think Scott, let me double check, but Nate might be now. I thought he was going to be joining us for these pick'ems. I thought he was going to sneak in last second.
Yeah. Well, that's okay because the dynamic duo will put the back porch in the backpack for the night. But we'll dive into Florida and Utah. We are picking straight winners. We will talk a little bit spread of these games, and we won't deep dive Dan Orlovsky into this, but we'll give a little take on the game and who we pick. Jake, do you want to start off Florida Utah? This is the kickoff game.
Yeah, I think it's a little revenge game for Utah, and they're getting it in Utah at some elevation. So Florida's just their schedule's so tough, and that's all we've heard all offseason. Their schedule's tough. The problem isn't just their schedule. Their quarterback is the problem. You lost AR to the draft, and you're left with scraps. And not that their quarterback, I'm blanking on his name off the top of my head, is bad, but Dan Mullen left that program in such bad shape. It's taking them a little bit longer to rebuild. And so if they could go and win Utah, awesome. But for me, it's just one of those things. You're going across country to some elevation. Utah's looking for a little revenge. So it's going to be tight. I think a spread, a touchdown, a little under a touchdown?
Yeah, 6.5. Utah.
So I wouldn't be shocked to see Florida cover, but we'll get into what I pick later. But for me, it's revenge time for Utah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The elements got to Utah in Gainesville last year. A lot of fourth quarter cramping that happened to Utah, and they ran out of gas. I don't think that Florida can be that elusive on offense again.
No.
And now they're going to have to deal with the elements in Utah. A lot of different environment than playing in the swamp in late August, early September. So for that reason, I am also taking the Utah Utes. I don't know what their saying is, but Ute up, UT.
Don't give away all your picks yet. We gotta sneak into our pick'ems a little later.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. Okay. It's okay. You snuck one.
I snuck one in. That's the little tease. Are we just previewing all these games then right now? Do we want to just go down the list of what we're picking?
Let's preview. We just
the big
Utah,
ones.
Florida. Let's do our Saturday. What's our Saturday slate? Oh man, I know we got
Yeah.
FSU, LSU, and we'll do that one. We'll preview that one last, and then we'll get into our pick'ems.
Yeah.
I know there's one
Man,
more.
I just want to pick spreads. I guess just getting ahead of myself over here.
UNC in South Carolina. Let's hear a little bit about that, and then we'll do LSU, FSU, and then we'll jump right into our pick'ems.
Okay. I love. Love is a very strong word, but I do really like Drake May as a prospect. Coming up this year,
he's good.
He's very good. He's prototype. However, could be a little bit Mitchell Trubisky syndrome. So I'm looking forward to watching him. But I think I'll watch those games a little bit different than I watch like a normal college football game because I want to see him if he can be that second quarterback off the board this coming year. Very, very strong class, and that's what he's going to be aiming for. So I want to see the play from him and a little bit different than a normal college football game. So looking forward to seeing that. South Carolina, it is the Duke Mayo's Classic. Shout out to Mayo boy. Will Levis might be a little jealous. Not playing in this game.
Disgusting.
So
that's so
yeah.
gross.
Yeah. Like also, can we just touch on what a lifetime supply of mayonnaise is? Like how long does it take you to go through a jar of mayonnaise? Because it takes me like it's usually like 6 months and then like it's bad. You got to get a new one anyways.
I don't like mayonnaise to begin with, but it would take like, for instance, my wife, she puts mayonnaise on her sandwiches, right? So it
you only put
it takes
so much.
Forever. Yeah, you're only putting a little bit. So like a lifetime supply of mayonnaise. First off, that's disgusting. But like you're gonna
like
get what,
a case?
six?
You're gonna case.
Like, what are you going through? 12 jars, and that's the lifetime. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, a case is like 24 jars. Like you get one case. It costs them like $176. Like to give you a lifetime supply of mayonnaise. Jeez. Like there's definitely better endorsement deals out there. I know NIL is new, but like you're making yourself look like a novice there,
Correct.
Will Levis. So. Sidetrack on that note. UNC, South Carolina. UNC will probably take care of them, but I'm looking forward to seeing Drake May in action.
Yeah, I'm on the flip side of this. Obviously, the SEC, one of the SEC fans here, but I'm excited to see if Spencer Rattler can reproduce those last two games from last year. Because if he can, we're talking a whole nother ballgame for the SEC East potentially. I mean, that's going to give everyone, that's going to put a lot of people on notice if Rattler can come out there and look like he did those last 2 or 3 games last year where he just lit it on. The guy we saw on the Netflix show where, he's slinging the ball everywhere and not the side we saw of him where he's the prima donna side. He just went out and he was all business, hit his throws, hit his reads, was just lighting everything on fire as he's throwing. So I'm excited about seeing what Spencer can do, and it's going to be I think it's going to be an exciting game. I think the over was set at like 60 something, and I think that's it's got a good chance to hit. So it's something to keep an eye on. I think our last
week one overs are tough, but that might be one that you got to keep an eye on and really like. Spencer Rattler's journey is going to be a story that they'll tell one day because I think that his mental capacity. Wow! We just he is here. He has risen, and he gets a round of applause for dropping in. There he is. But I think that he has such a strange story on the way that things have unfolded for him that they will tell the story of Spencer Rattler 1 year, maybe in a Netflix documentary. So that'll be exciting.
What is it going to be called? My Life as a Roller Coaster?
Yeah.
I got replaced by a freshman.
Yeah. So for everyone that is watching on the YouTube, you saw Jake and I's face just light up right there. If you're listening through the pod, Nate just came out of nowhere like, like LeBron blocking Iguodala, like just out of nowhere, out of thin air,
out
and
of
he
nowhere.
is here.
I came in. That's
Nate,
what I did.
we are
like a wrecking ball.
Nate,
Yeah,
we're
baby.
on to our last
Miley.
our last preview before Pick'ems. So we just went over the UNC. We just went over the Florida game. So now we're on to our very last preview of the week before hopping into Pick'ems, which is FSU LSU big dog game on a Saturday. I want you to start us off and just tell us your thoughts. Obviously, don't give your pick away yet because we're going to get into Pick'ems. Scott accidentally did that a second ago.
Yeah, I jumped straight to the pick.
Sometimes you blow your load too early when you're excited.
It's all good.
That's just how it happens.
Give us your preview for the
no
biggest
shame.
game of the week.
Shame.
Make a joke about it and move on.
Shake, what'd you say?
So give us your preview for the biggest, what I'm calling the biggest game of the weekend.
Yeah, it's the biggest game of the weekend. It's Sunday night. Oh, I'm loud. I was told I was loud. All right, I'm gonna give you guys my NPR voice. I'm trying to give the fans excitement. Okay. All right, I will do my best, hun. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the lady of the back porch, my wife, and she is everything I need in life. She humbles me, she keeps me grounded, and that's why I love her. So preview of the weekend, biggest game of the weekend. We haven't had a big game like this to open up a week of college football with the parameters, like the outcomes of it. Like literally, one team is going to not make the playoffs because of this.
Potentially,
potentially. Both teams have a stupid hard schedule. Both teams have traps. Like if you look at both of their teams, are riddled with bear traps. If both teams don't stay focused post game, it's also how do you go into an off season and get the reps you need to get, the timing you need to get, and everything you need to get, and you got to play a top 5 team week 1. That's tough.
That's true.
Like, as a coach, like you're like that uber focus is like the seriousness of this, the severity of it. Luckily for them, they have both good quarterbacks, good leaders on both teams. Both have great defensive line. They both have great DBs. Like it's going to be a great game. That being said, the LSU Florida State game, last year's game was a sloppy mess. Like turnovers, missed field goals. It really just became a battle of who's going to mess up least at that moment. And literally the outcome was that.
Well, I think they called the janitors for this year. It's going to be a little cleaned up.
Oh yeah, they've definitely cleaned it up. Both teams are definitely cleaned up. They're going to be super shiny, super clean, sold out crowd. The LSU people are going to be there. It's going to be loud. It's going to be great. It's going to be ruly. Florida State, a bunch of the Florida State fan pages are super excited about it because they finally get to see. It's like that game. Like they've been in the desert for such a long time, and you finally make it to the mirage that looks like the Oasis, but is it the Oasis? And so for them, this is that test where it's like, all right, is Norval our guy? This is the year. He's got every puzzle piece he needs in place. He's got the experienced quarterback. He's got the wide receivers. He's got talent everywhere. It looks like the old Florida State teams back in the day. Like these guys are just athletes everywhere. You got phenomenal defensive ends. You have crazy linebackers. This game, it's gonna be boring the first half. I'm telling y'all right now. It's not gonna get electric until the second half because Brian Kelly and his staff are gonna do anything they can not to mess up.
Yeah, they're gonna be tight.
They're gonna be tight. They're gonna call it's a chess match. And both these coaching staffs are week 1, you got to pull out all your plays, put that on film. Like, eventually that's what's going to happen. I feel like the beginning of the game is going to be super, super back and forth just because energy. These are freak athletes just doing what they do. It's like you just give the athletes a way to do what they do, and they do it, right? So we're going to have a bunch of cool, like, defensive plays looking. We're going to have a bunch of just wide receivers making one-handed catches probably because that's what LSU wide receivers do. It's going to be great. It's going to be great, but it's going to be back and forth. And then the adjustments at half. At that point, I think Florida State has more firepower against LSU's defense to put them ahead in that game. I feel like LSU's going to be the aggressive nature of LSU. They're going to probably start blitzing more, find different packages on the defensive side of things. to the point where I think Jordan Travis is smart enough to know, all right, I see the coverage, I see I see the blitzes. He's good enough to run with his feet, but he's also good enough to throw it to the check down, right?
Yeah, true.
And get it to his name's Benson. He's a freak. If you get that kid in open space, he's gone. So I can see the coordinator coming up with, fail safes, check downs for him, or him taking off. Now, opposite side, Jaden Daniels, he's a runner, right? So all they got to do
He's a
is
runner. He's a track
he's a runner.
star.
They just he's a runner. He got better at throwing last year, and we saw that in a couple of games.
get worse.
He got better. He didn't get worse. He got better and better. But you would always see in the beginning of the year, even when he was at Arizona State, he would look at his number one option and just take off. And that's okay. You can do that at Arizona State. And he tried to do that at LSU, and it kind of worked until the Tennessee game. And all they did was just contain him. They didn't go after him. They just kept him in a bubble and said, beat me with your arm. I feel like LSU, there's enough film on him, Jaden Daniels, that LSU is probably going to mimic that. They're just going to say, hey, we're going to bring 4. We're going to sit back as a spy on you. Bring 4, sit back as spy, and then play pretty much man or zone, which is fine. Just based off of that, I can see more blitz packages coming with that spy, because sometimes, like, hey, the spy can blitz if your edges guys are getting to him, which I think they can. They're pretty athletic, so I feel like the game is really going to be won in the adjustments in the third quarter. And we're going to see that dictate the fourth quarter. So that's what, 45? It's a
little low.
It's a little low,
but it might hit with the new clock rules. It might hit.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like, we didn't mention it last week, and I forgot to. You mentioned it.
Oh, no,
in our text messages. 56.
Oh, give me that. We might be the back porch over, but I'm smashing under.
That's going to be an under on that one, just because the clock. I feel like the clock, these teams aren't coming out firing. They're not. I've seen these games before. These juggernaut games at the beginning. It comes down to coaches and players, and those coaches making those adjustments for those players. So, I feel like it's going to be tight. It'd probably be like I would say 10 to like a 7 going into half, or like a 14-10 kind of game. You know what I mean? Something simple. And then third quarters are gonna you're gonna start seeing more spread out options, getting space, getting your athletes in space, and getting trying to find those nooks and crannies, so to speak. I mean, LSU's got neighbors. They have guys too. I feel like Florida State's defense is a little bit is better, and then LSU losing the defensive end for the suspension, that's huge. Like, that's a huge piece of your defense. Like, the NCAA coming down on him for signing his name and making money off of it. So, what's the favored spread in that one? I think it's Florida State.
Minus 2.5, I believe. Yeah, Scott had to run to
Florida State.
Yeah, hold on, I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah,
I think I saw it. It's basically a pick 'em.
It's basically a pick 'em, because the home team, technically, because they're in Orlando, they get 3 points, really.
It is, minus 2.5 to LSU.
To LSU, so Florida State's the underdog.
Yeah,
Okay.
Florida State's underdog, which is fair because LSU is ranked higher.
That makes sense. I get it.
And
I get it.
They're coming off winning the SEC, so
SEC
SEC West, sorry, which is basically the past 10 years. It's you win the West, you win the SEC, but
correct.
Obviously a little different with Georgia now, but yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I'm not going to give my pick away.
I'm not giving my pick either. So,
but
it's gonna be a fun game. It's gonna be fun.
I kind of have a feeling it's going to be like one of those super, like you're saying, super tight first half. I think the game's going to end like 35-17. It just has that feel, or like 28-17.
Someone's gonna throw a pick. It's eventually.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. Maybe going into the fourth quarter, and it's going to be like a 3-point game, and then somebody's going to pick six it and put it to bed.
That's like both these teams are like sharks, man. Like, when they get that turnover and that momentum, they will just all over, like feeding frenzy, just gobble it up, and they'll get like 10 points out of that turnover easily.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see
Absolutely.
what happens, and perfect timing. Scott coming back, perfect
Yeah.
timing.
Yeah, perfect timing, Scott, to you, big dog.
Yes.
So
What am I at?
because I came in late Nate, I came in, we did news and things like that. Did we talk about what did we talk about? Eric Gilbert getting arrested? Anybody see that? That was wild. Did y'all watch the video on that?
I did not see the video. If you
It's
could send that
crazy.
to me, it would
God,
be
that
great.
kid, man, he had the whole life ahead of him, and
Yeah.
now he's going to jail. What was another thing that I wrote it down? I just can't remember what it was. Gosh, it was something I was going to bring up in their news segment. It was new. Whatever. It's okay. If you're listening, sorry. Brain fart.
can if
My
you
CTE is
find it,
acting up.
yeah. If you
Yeah.
can find it, we will end the show with it. But
Okay.
I think,
Yeah, I'll try to find it.
right now, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen, if you
I
are
found it.
watching, you found it.
Yeah, I have it written down.
Killing me. I was laying it up. What do you
show
got?
people
What
the
do you
show
got?
notes. Show notes.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry.
what do you got, Nate?
Oh, so did y'all see the scuffle between local Bama media and Nick Saban yesterday?
Yes.
Y'all heard about that?
Yeah,
And Tim Brando calling him out.
Mhm.
dude. They also had a reporter giving Auburn crap about paying the most Auburn's ever paid UMass to play a game. It's like 1.9 million. Meanwhile, their very first game of the season is Alabama versus Tennessee directional school, and they're paying 1.6 million. He made some big deal about it. And we're like, dude,
Well,
it's literally, who cares?
They're just
They're
they're henchmen in Tuscaloosa. So that's all they are.
Bama's media is off the rails right now. Might as well start cutting
Well,
up dikes.
Well, you know what he did, right? Like Nick Saban, because you're supposed to give protocol to media that you're supposed to give your depth chart. That way they can start preparing for game interviews and game things like that, so they can be prepared. Just like how their team has to practice, these guys, media has to practice too. They have to know who's on the depth chart. They have to know they have to get prepared for that. Even though he hasn't said who's going to be a quarterback. Well, he came out yesterday and was pretty much flat out, "I'm not giving y'all anything." And pretty much said something along the lines of like, "It doesn't matter what our depth chart is." Blah blah blah. I'm Nick Saban.
Dude, he could have done what Gus Malzahn used to do. But Gus Malzahn used to list every position with an or. It'd be like Cam Newton or somebody
exactly,
or like
but at least
put or. What a jerk.
He
Whatever.
gave it to him. So he's done this before, and this is his local like Alabama people. This isn't like national team media.
AL.com.
So like he's abusing them, and they're just going with it. And then so he's done it before to Tim Brando in the past. So Tim Brando came in and lit him up about like, you can't do that. Like, we have to freaking like pretty much, you have to respect the media. I don't care if you're Nick Saban. I don't care that you are winningest coach all the time. Like, people don't check you, so I'm going to check you. And so Tim Brando came to the local like the media's the voice of it, and he talked about it today on Jake and Crane and Company this week, and I thought that was pretty interesting. That was news to me because it was just like, Nick Saban is Nick Saban, but like, he loses credibility more when he does stuff like that. Like, he's already the best of all time. We know that and whatever, but he can't. You don't have to be that type of person. You know what I mean? You can do like Jalen Milroe or Sam. You know what I mean? Like another guy. Like, just do it that way. Send it to him that way. They get to prepare for everybody. So, anyways, that was my news. That's awesome.
News.
Awesome, guys. Cool.
I'm gonna lay it out for everyone, especially for the ones that are listening instead of watching.
All right,
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, it is time for us to get into the pick segment. And hide your kids and hide your wife. Anyone under the age of 17 should not be viewing this right now, because we have the FPI Killer in the house ready to make his picks. And it is time.
Let's go.
Week 1 pick'em.
Hide your kids. Hide your wife. FBI Killer is here.
Serial killer.
And he is so back. And we will start off on a week 1 pick'em.
Week 1
Jake,
pick'em.
aka the FPI Killer. Give us, since I already blew this. This is where I blew my load early. Utah versus Florida.
Ooh, Thursday night killer. Let's go, baby.
Give me in the altitude Florida to upset Utah.
Ooh.
Oh,
The
the
killer's
FBI
seeing
killer
something we're
coming.
not.
Yes, he's
Oh,
spraying,
baby. He's bringing the
spraying
heat.
on it.
I love it. The killer said Florida in the altitude.
Yep.
Why is that, killer? Is that it? Just is there a reason?
don't-
You just have a gut feeling, or
Utah's coming in playing like it's a revenge game. UF don't care about that. They don't care. It's time. UF's gonna win. It's just gonna be one of those things.
Yep. And I have Utah in this game, which is I was gonna make it my lock, but since it is a Thursday game, I won't make it my lock of the week. But give me Utah in this game, as we all know from me blowing my load earlier.
Utah. All right. They might call you the FBI killer, but they call me the FBI mediocre picker, which is fine because I came in last year in our pick'em, and I deserved that title. I was mediocre, but I will go with the altitude. I will go with Cam Rising starting. The line moved from 4.5 to 6.5, which is telling me everything I need to know about Utah. Utah is returning a ton of players. This is a huge game for them because they have to prove once again that they are the team in the Pac-12. It's a home game. It's sold out. People are electric. I'm excited for this one on Thursday. It's going to be fun. I don't think it's close. I really don't. I think Florida, the last Florida team I saw, look really bad against Oregon State, and they're about to get spanked by another Pac-12 team, which is very sad for the SEC East, if I really have to say it. But Florida needs a humbling. They need a real identity of like, oh, we're going to win 7 games this year. It's like, not with that schedule. So, mediocre
Utah
picker, Utah. Big.
2v1. We do have Ryan's picks as well.
Wait, did you say Ryan? I don't think it's his name. I think it's Fading Nittany Ryan is his name.
Yeah, Fading Nittany Ryan is with Utah. So, that's what we do if we're fading him.
3-1. The FBI killer.
We'll keep going. He's a lone wolf. Woo!
That's just fine. That's fine. It was a good pick. It was bold. I like it.
Yeah, bold. Bold in week 1. Here we go. The other Thursday night game. Here we go. My Nebraska Cornhuskers versus the Row the Boat Golden Gophers in Minnesota. Minnesota by 7 is the line. Give me the Matt Rule debut, baby. Cornhuskers up. GBR. Go Big Red.
All right. We snaking this? Is it my turn now?
Yeah.
All right. Snaking it. All right.
Snake it, Nate.
All right. We have Nebraska. First big game, big opportunity. 8 p.m. game on Fox this Thursday against the PJ Fleck. Get your PJ coin. Earn your PJs. Off-season drama. Minnesota Gophers. The FPI sits at 67% Minnesota. The line is 7 points for Minnesota to cover. This is wild, but I can't take Matt Rule game 1. I will early say game 2 for Matt Rule he could possibly win. But if this one was at home, I would think it'd be better. I feel like we see a good game, but Minnesota is still bringing a good offensive line or offensive defensive line with here. So I go with Minnesota in that game.
I'm
I
sitting
see
over
the
here
FPI Killer is rowing the boat.
rowing my boat.
He
We're
is
going to row the
rowing
boat. Minnesota.
Going with the PJ coin. The FPI Killer is on board, and he's got more PJ coin than he does Bitcoin. It seems like.
What was Faden Nittany Ryan's pick there?
Faden Nittany Ryan. He has Minnesota. Ooh, tough to fade him. Tough to fade him. This one is more of a pick on the board because we wanted to put it there. I think it might be consensus that we are all taking TCU over Colorado. It's 20 and a half. It's Coach Prime's first game as the head coach. He is coming off off-season surgery, so we're not going to knock him. We're not going to knock Colorado, but they are the most overhyped 3-win team of ever, like, coming out. So I have TCU. Jake might have TCU. I believe.
Yes, I have TCU.
Has TCU. And is it a
Yeah.
clean sweep with Nate's?
It is. It's at home. Fort Worth is going to be way too much for probably the worst roster in all of football. So the hype, it's awesome, but it's going to be the big noon kickoffs there, and you're like, come on, guys. It's a 20 point. It's a 20 and a half. 20 and a half, like big noon. Y'all could have gone somewhere else. It's just hyping up this thing. He's going to get embarrassed. They're going to try to throw the ball 19 times.
I'm going to feel bad, but I'm also going to say
I don't feel bad. They're going to throw the ball Justin Hunter like 19 times. They're going to have like 3 picks. Like it's – and here's the thing. TCU's quarterback who's starting this year was the starter last year. Max Dugan wasn't the starter.
Yeah, very true.
So, like, they're returning a ton of guys. Like, they're just replacing Garrett Riley. That's it. I mean, that's pretty much what I think they're replacing. And Dugan and like, added in the wide receiver. But no, big, huge. Horn Frogs. Yep. Hypno-toed him up.
Yep, hypno-toed across the board. This one a little bit closer of a spread, 1.5 UTSA and Houston. I have UTSA winning that game. Jake, on the rapid fire.
Houston. Yep. Give them to me.
Ooh, killer. That game's in Houston, right? Where's that game? Yeah, it's in Houston.
It is.
That game was a 1-point game, I believe, last year, correct?
Yeah, and it's a 1-point spread, I believe, or 1.5.
Yep,
1-point spread. What do you think, Noella? Houston or UTSA? Go ahead. Okay. She's waving. Say hi, everybody. You're on YouTube. My daughter, she decided not to go to bed. So, UTSA, Houston. This is a big year for Dana Holgerson just because he's replacing Clayton Tune, and who was a phenomenal quarterback for him, and then the wide receiver Nate Dell, right? And he's a Texan, correct? Dell, I believe so. Yeah. Those two big pieces, I think, are going to be too much for them to. So I have UTSA winning that game. They're going into Houston. It's never easy, but UTSA is returning Frank Harris and his wide receiver and a bunch of players. They're a sneaky like at-large team for the New Year's Six this year. Them and Tulane and South Alabama. So I'm going with UTSA. I'm going where the money's at.
Love it. Fading Nittany Ryan has Houston in this game. Wow.
Houston, are we split?
Looks like
All
it.
right, the porch is split. I like it.
Yes, we are. Here we go. We already previewed this one in detail. So UNC, South Carolina. I have UNC. I believe Jake. Are you taking Rattler?
Taking Rattler, baby. South Carolina.
Yeah, taking Rattler.
Killer's taking the rat. Killer's taking the rat. This game is in Charlotte, right?
Yeah. No, it's in South Carolina.
No, it's in Charlotte. It's a neutral site game.
Oh,
I
okay,
believe,
yeah. It's the
because it's like the Duke
Mayo's
Mayo
class.
Classic.
Yeah.
So this is the Duke Mayo Classic. So the last time these teams played was in the Duke Mayo Bowl 2 years ago, and they both were 6-6. Sam Howell underwhelmed with UNC, and Mac Brown lost that game to the same Spencer Rattler and Coach Beamer. Year one. Now I believe in my heart, since you guys already talked about this, I'm going to give you kind of a little uptick. Drake May's an Heisman, obviously, caliber quarterback. He needs a defense. Well, so does South Carolina. But South Carolina needs an offense. Now, they brought a new OC in with everything, but I still think there's too much firepower for South Carolina in this game. So I'm going with the Tar Heels in blue to get the revenge game of the Mayo, make it 1-1 in the Mayo Classic, and I can't wait to see the rubber match in a couple years.
Gonna be a good game for sure. We love that Drake May Rattler matchup.
I think it's gonna be a phenomenal game. I think it's gonna be a very high scoring game. I
that.
believe there's an over in that game.
Mhm.
Might be for my picks. So we'll see.
Yep. All right. For time constraint issues, we'll just go ahead and keep going quickly on the next, because I think we got 3 left, so we'll make them quick. Tulane and USA, the
Ooh.
nation. Salute.
This is a tough one, dude.
I have. I'll start off. I have Tulane, and I have them minus the 6.5.
Green waving. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
do you
riding
hear
that
it?
title wave.
Do you guys hear that? Can y'all hear that? Sounds like there's a green wave coming in the form of Tulane dominating South Alabama.
Yes, sir.
South Alabama is good. I will not take that away from them. But Tulane is better. Tulane green waving them all the way out of New Orleans.
It is a clean sweep on the back porch with Fade and Nittany Ryan with Tulane as well.
Plus, they have better jerseys. Their colors are awesome.
Yeah, I do love the green wave. Our Sunday kickoff that we broke down in great fashion. LSU FSU. Is that an acceptable thing to do?
The chop. If you're not watching, he's doing his chop.
Chop. Oh my gosh, I can't.
FSU,
So, such an
FSU,
insensitive
baby.
person.
For you to tell me FSU is gonna lose in Florida, it's time. Oh.
Well, you're also an Indian fan as well, so.
Yep, Guardian, but
Guardians. Excuse me, Guardians.
Yep. Politically correct, please. Thank you.
FBI Killer throwing up some gang signs.
The S and the U, Louisiana State University for
LSU.
FBI Killer. Oh my lord!
Big pick. Oh, they don't call me Big Pick Nate for nothing. This one's tough. But I come up big in these games. You know, last year I had a very, very bad week 5. I keep telling everybody that. That's not going to happen this year. I've worked hard. I've worked on my pick game. And here we are. I'm going Florida State. State.
You know what
Florida
that
State.
puts the FPI Killer at?
Ooh.
By himself. You might as well be one whooping that baby, because Florida State is going to come to play today on Sunday.
Ryan
You don't
on FSU too.
You don't become the FBI killer. You don't become the FBI killer by joining in on the fads. You guys are just riding the fads.
I never said it was a fad. I use stats and analytics.
I have 2 underdogs winning straight up, which brings us to the last game of the week, which is on a Friday night.
Ooh,
Game that we're picking. Louisville, Georgia Tech. Are they still running that triple option at Georgia
that's
Tech?
false.
Nope.
Okay.
Years
I
ago.
was curious. I don't watch a lot of Georgia Tech.
The rambling wreck of Georgia Tech.
Nobody does.
Yeah. Well, it's on Friday night. I think I might go up to the local high school and watch K5 play on Friday.
Watch a good 5 high school.
But anyways, I'm taking Louisville minus 7.5 as well.
Louisville minus 7.
Another little sign for everyone. If you didn't know, this is their thing. We're going Louisville, baby.
think.
Louisville.
Yeah, it's
Huh?
their thing. Yep, you gotta have two fingers. Yep.
All right. Last year I picked against Louisville, I believe, week 2. Replacing coach with a new coach, obviously. Replacing Malik Cunningham and a couple other key components to that team. Georgia Tech is coming off some couple rough years. Couple rough years for Georgia Tech. The game is in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, so it's not technically a home game for Georgia Tech. So about 30 of their fans will make their way across Atlanta to the game. FPI has this game, I believe, Louisville at 60% or 70%. I'm going with Louisville. Too many athletes, too many players. Just Georgia Tech. They look decent. They look better last year, but this is a tough first game for them. I expect them to get better throughout the year. They just got to get more players. So I'm going with Louisville on this one. You say Louisville? Uh-huh. And Louisville. Noella says Louisville.
Right there.
Yep. Good pick.
Here is baiting Nittany Ryan on this one. He is. He's on Louisville.
Okay, it's clean sweep.
So
it's a sweep.
Yep, it's a clean sweep.
Sweep it. Sweep it. That's a good one.
That is our pick segment for the week. I do want to bring up one future that I want to share with all of our listeners. I've made a significant but responsible large wager on a Heisman Trophy future. So if everyone could say a nice prayer that Marvin Harrison Jr. comes home with the Heisman Trophy this year, my wallet would be greatly appreciated.
There you go.
Marvin Harrison Jr. plus 3,000.
Come on
to
down.
win.
Come on home now. Come on, so Jesus. Bring it.
It was significant but responsible wager. So just want to put that out in the air.
That's good. I like that. I do like that. I do like that a lot. If you are listening and you follow us on our Instagram pages, or just Instagram really, I put out updated Heisman odds, and the national championship odds as well. They were updated this week since the FPI and everything was updated for week 1. So hold on. Yeah, put that out there for anybody who's looking to continue to put futures out there. I believe Florida State and LSU Florida State was a 1,200 to 1. And I like that buy if you're like a $5, $10 on that one. And then also LSU was like I can look it up. Give me a second. That was like a 900 or something. Mm-hmm. But still, I like those values because it's like, all right, cool. I mean, these guys definitely have the potential.
Nate, after week 1, Jake and I earlier when you weren't here,
sure.
we're gonna evaluate after week 1, because everyone needs week 1 to understand who's there. But we're gonna do a back porch parlay of conference winners. So obviously we'll have the Big Ten. We'll do a Big Ten.
Okay.
We'll do a SEC prediction.
All right.
We'll do the Pac-12, and I think we might spin a roulette wheel to get another conference, and then we'll find what conference we'll settle on a winner, and then we'll put a future in on that. So that'll be fun.
That. I like that. That's cool. Yeah, I like that. I can't wait to listen to that.
We decided that we're going to have to give me Pac-12 for a little quack action since you're all big on the defenseless USC.
Yeah. I believe it's defenseless.
Yeah, no defense.
Yeah, no defense, and the English language is definitely something that we struggle with on the back porch. So I think that wraps up our porch play pick'em week 1. A little bit longer of an episode than expected, so sorry about that. Usually trying to keep these at 30 minutes. So Nate's going to tell everyone how to follow, like, and subscribe, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, man. If you are new to the pod or seeing one of our reels and anything like that, you can find us at social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads. If you're into that, uh, and
TikTok.
TikTok. Forgot about a TikTok.
TikTok is blowing up.
Yep. You can find us all those on those, and I believe all of the tags are at Back Porch Owners Club, Back Porch OC, at Back Porch OC.
All right.
And
Well,
that'll end it for the night. Appreciate the FPI Killer for joining us, Nate. Thanks for giving us a nice surprise here. Appreciate everyone listening. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.